I don't hate debt. Debt's not evil. We are absolutely playing a long game with our debt-free journey because that's what's best for us. Hi. What is this? Hi. Hi, I'm Wendy Valencia. So here in the Valencia household, we believe that debt is a tool. Now, not all debt is good, but not all debt is evil. When it's managed properly, you can actually use it to help you create great wealth. The truth is, really, the debt is not a good tool for everyone. It really depends on where you are in your financial journey. For example, for Mauricio and I, back when we first got married, debt was a bad choice. We were doing fine, relatively speaking, but we didn't have a good grasp on our money. We had no, even though we were budgeting, we truly didn't have a concept of what was going in every month and what was going out and all the problems that could arise. At that point, we owned a house that was a disaster. We didn't have an emergency fund when we first got married because we had spent it all on the disaster house, all of that. But today, we have a very firm grasp on what goes in and what goes out and our own personal spending habits. So we could easily incorporate debt into our financial journey should we want to. Now, right now, we have debt and we're paying that off because it's unnecessary, obviously, for us to have it. It doesn't benefit us at this point to have it. And debt can actually benefit you. And I'll get into that in a second. My friend Kelly and I we're having this big, long discussion, and I think she's also used this analogy on her channel. But we equate debt to alcohol. There are people that can have a drink every once in a while and be fine. There are people that can have one drink every day and manage themselves perfectly well. There are people that go off the chain like once every 6 months, once a week. And then there are people that can't handle it at all. Debt is the same way. Credit cards are the same way. If you're one of those people that can control your spending and maybe use a credit card every once in a while, that's great. Those are the people that are paying their credit card off in full every month and only really using it for expenses, not using it for emergencies and not using it for gigantic purchases. Because they realize that if they carry a balance from month to month, it's going to cost them money. Mauricio and I, back when we first got married, we definitely would have fallen into the heavy drinker alcoholic category because we would have used a credit card for a one-time purchase like a big TV or something like that. Although Mauricio and I only ever had one credit card and our balance wasn't ridiculous. So we're not bad credit card people because we knew very early on that credit cards in the beginning were not good for us. Now Mauricio and I have a credit card and we use it so responsibly. We picked one with the highest cashback and points back guarantee, and it has been phenomenal for us. Absolutely phenomenal. We have earned enough points to go down to Colombia for free, and we're going to use that card to pay for his school. So we're going to earn huge amounts of points. We have been using it to pay for his school. So thousands and thousands of dollars are going on the card right now and getting paid off immediately. So we get a ton of points, and we can use those to visit Mauricio's family for free. So why wouldn't we do that? I know a lot of people that follow me are huge Dave fans. And let me tell you, I have a huge amount of respect for Dave and his business and his philosophies. However, I will freely admit that over the last 2 years or so, I've lost a huge amount of respect for him. Most recently with this horrible situation with him firing a pregnant woman while maintaining a man who was having an affair outside of his marriage. That is clearly gender biased and disgusting and not something I can even respect. So while historically I have adored him, I'm not necessarily in that boat anymore. His methods have created almost a cult-like following. And you'll see those people down in the comments section. They're the ones that are like, you have to get rid of your debt. You can't, no debt is good. Credit cards are evil. And they generally will call me stupid or tell me to go back in the kitchen or something like that. But what people don't understand is we're doing quite well. And so having debt for a little longer is actually mathematically, especially with this market right now, mathematically beneficial to us. So yeah, we're going to take a little bit longer to pay off our debt, and that's okay with us because that's our plan. I mean, for the longest time, we tried to fit ourselves into that mold. Well, it wasn't even a real long time. It was like maybe 4 months. We really tried his program and failed absolutely miserably. It didn't gel with our personalities. So we finally realized that we could adapt the program in our own way. And really, we not even really baby steppers anymore. I always refer to our debt payoff as our debt snowball, but it's not even really a debt snowball. But for many people, debt is a hindrance. For the people living paycheck to paycheck with no emergency fund, no plan for what to do if they go over budget, debt is a huge hindrance. So in my opinion, when is debt okay? Well, we discussed the credit cards. If you have control on your credit cards and pay them off every month and are using them to earn points and cash back, why wouldn't you do that? For us, but not for everybody, for us, educational debt is absolutely okay. And the reason is, in the vast majority of situations, you are going to better yourself with a college degree. For example, Mauricio, while he has a college degree already, he is getting his graduate degree in architecture. And pretty soon is going to be quitting his job. And I'm going to get into that whole scenario at the end of this video and what we're going to do and how we're planning to handle it. But for us, Mauricio's happiness is the most important thing. And his job, while great and wonderful, fantastic income, is not terribly fulfilling for him. So he needs to change careers. And in order to do that, he will have to get another degree, a master's degree. But once he has that, his potential for income can increase significantly, because architecture is one of those things that you work for somebody for a little while and then you can start your own firm. And Mauricio would be phenomenal at that. Not necessarily the management side of his own company. That would be probably my job, but his organizational skills are a tad bit lacking. But he has the personality to go out, get business, and do really well for himself. And so in that scenario, the income potential far outweighs the debt. So this debt being perfectly acceptable, I think we can all agree. A mortgage. I don't think anybody would argue that you have to pay cash for a house. While awesome and would be lovely to pay cash for a house, it's not mandatory. And people understand that because houses are crazy expensive, especially in the area I live in where the houses sell, we live in the low rent district of our township, and I think the houses in our neighborhood average 900 to like 1.2, somewhere in there. Whereas, on the other side of town, they're like $4 or $5 million houses. There are very few people on the planet that could pay cash for either one of those houses. They'd definitely be top 1%ers if they could. Another time that we would think debt would be perfectly acceptable is small business debt. Now, small business debt can be dangerous, but you have to have an ability to pay it should everything fail miserably. So obviously you want to build up your debt from the ground up slowly. And I actually talked about this in my video, which I'll link at the end, what rich people don't tell you. But borrowing $250,000 to spend in something that's a business deal that's going to pay you $350,000 3 months later, that's not a bad deal. In 3 months, you can make $100,000, take your $250 and pay it all down. Do that a couple of times, and then you build up the capital to pretty much cash flow any deal after that. So in those scenarios, it's excellent. But you, as I said, you have to know that should everything go down the tubes, you have the ability to pay it. The key to using debt as a tool is simply that. You never want to take on more debt than you can pay all on your own, should everything fail. And truthfully, the same goes for co-signing on loans. I know a lot of people don't co-sign on loans. Mauricio and I, it'll be a long time before we co-sign on another loan. But, you know, if Melina, when she turned 25, needed us to co-sign on it, we would absolutely do that. We would also make sure that she paid. We would also understand that if she didn't, it would fall on us. But we're honestly raising Melina so that she is so well financially minded that she probably will never need a loan. That's the plan. We'll see how that goes. So let me talk about what we're going to do when Mauricio goes to school, because Mauricio has a fantastic income right now, but he is going to be quitting his job to go to graduate school full time. And I'm not going to lie, I am a little bit stressed out about that. But there are several ways we're going to handle that, because, you know, we'll be going down to my income, which is decent. But if we're carrying a mortgage and all of that, our finances are going to be crazy tight. So what will happen during that time is, will we stop our retirement investments? Absolutely not. But we probably will bring them all the way down to just the minimum match. So that's the first thing we'll do, because you never want to lose that minimum match. You get 100% return on your investment immediately, and then it has compound interest. Don't make that mistake. So by the time Mauricio is going to graduate school, we'll be in a much, much better place financially. We will have paid off the 2 loans that we're working on right now. We will have paid off the personal loan. And the only thing we will have left is Mauricio's school loan from immediately prior to going on this program. So 5 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it was, we realized that we were borrowing money to pay for Mauricio's schooling. And so we stopped that, but he continued going to school. We just started paying cash for it. But those loans are actually in deferment right now. And because of the fact that it's a whole tax thing, but a lot of the loans were actually subsidized loans. So there's not a huge amount of interest accruing. So it benefits us to sit on those loans and not even worry about them, because financially it's very minimal. So we're paying our last 3 debts. Well, we're focusing on 2 right now, and then we have one that is a family debt, which we'll be paying when we finalize the purchase of this house. We aren't currently saving for Mauricio to go to school. We do have a 521 for Melina that we could probably switch over to Mauricio for cash, and that's fairly sizable, and that might get him actually through graduate school. I'll look into that, because that might be the best thing for us to do. But should we have to, I'm not above taking out a school loan to survive the 2 years that he's in school. We would take as little as physically possible. You know, we're not going to take it out to remodel our house or anything like that. But also, we could always take a HELOC against the house, because we will have a huge amount of equity in this house. So then coming out, our plan is to hit that last little debt as quickly as possible. Maybe relax for a few months, because we're going to go down to a pretty tight budget for the years that he's in graduate school. But once he's good to go, we're going to focus on that and kick it out, and then we'll be done. Our plan is to hopefully never need to take out debt. We're planning our business ventures. We'll be saving for those ahead of time, you know, all of that. So that's our plan. But sometimes plans will change, and we'll see. So if you want to see that video where I talk about the things that rich people don't want you to know, I'll put that up right here, and I'll see you in the next one.